All right, so you just got your hands on a brand new Microsoft Entra ID tenant. This thing is going to be the heart of your organization's security, but let's be honest, staring at that default dashboard for the first time can be a little intimidating. You're probably thinking, where do I even start? Well, today we're going to build that essential foundation. This is your quick start guide to the absolute must-do configurations for day one. So you log in for that very first time, you see the dashboard, and boom, you're hit with that universal question. Okay, now what? Look, it's a totally common feeling. You've got all this power at your fingertips, but without a clear place to start, it's just a bunch of potential. So let's turn that potential into a secure, working foundation, and we'll start with the very first thing your users are ever going to see. You know, the easiest way to wrap your head around all this is with a simple metaphor. I want you to think of your new Entra ID tenant as a brand new, empty office building. This is your company's digital headquarters. Right now, it's pretty generic. Our job today is to slap your company's name on the front door, figure out who gets which keys, and set up the secured departments inside.
First things first, before anyone even sets foot inside this digital building, you want them to know they're in the right place, right? That's why our first stop is branding. This is literally the welcome mat for your entire digital headquarters.
And what's really interesting here is that this isn't just about making things look pretty. As the source material points out, it provides a consistent experience. Think about it. When your users see that familiar company logo and your brand colors on the sign-in page, it's this powerful, psychological signal. It builds trust, it tells them, hey, you're safe, this isn't a phishing site, and it reinforces your brand every single time someone logs in. And this right here, this is where the magic happens. The customized default sign-in experience page is basically your digital paint and palette. It's where you go to tweak the look and feel of that super important entry point for every single one of your users. You're turning a generic Microsoft page into your company's front door. Now, it's not just about the logo and the pretty background picture. A couple of these other elements are super useful. That username hint, it can seriously cut down on login headaches, especially if your usernames are kind of complex. And that custom text at the bottom, oh, that's prime real estate. Don't just put a help desk number there. You could link to your password policy or post important security reminders. It's all about making this front door not just look good, but be useful too. Okay, so the welcome mat is down, the place is looking good. Now for the really important part. Who gets the keys to the building? This brings us to one of the most critical day one jobs, understanding and handing out administrative roles. So what exactly are these Microsoft Entra roles? Well, at their core, they're just collections of permissions. Think of them as different key cards for your digital headquarters. The receptionist's key card might only open the front door, right? But a manager's key card opens their whole department. These roles are what let people do their jobs, like creating new user accounts or resetting passwords. Let's zoom in on two of the big ones you'll deal with right away. First up, the global administrator. This is the master key. It can do absolutely everything, which is exactly why you should almost never use it. Seriously, for the day-to-day stuff, you delegate. And that's where a role like user administrator is perfect. It's designed for your help desk or HR teams. It gives them just enough power to manage users and passwords without accidentally handing them the keys to your entire security kingdom. Now, here's a spot where a lot of people get tripped up. The difference between Azure roles and Microsoft Entra roles. Getting this right is so important. Just remember this. Azure roles manage resources, the things in your cloud, like your virtual machines and databases. Microsoft Entra roles manage identity, the who, as in your users, groups, and apps. So it's like managing the building itself versus managing the people who are allowed inside it. This visual really nails the difference. Don't worry about all the text. Just focus on the diagram. Over on the left, you've got Azure roles managing all that infrastructure. On the right, you have things like Microsoft 365. And sitting right in the middle, connecting everything, is Microsoft Entra ID. It's the identity layer for the entire Microsoft cloud. And this all leads us to maybe the single most important security rule you need to follow, not just on day one, but every day. The source material is crystal clear on this. Always, always follow the principle of least privilege. In our building metaphor, it's simple. You don't give the janitor the key to the CEO's office. You give people only the permissions they need to do their job and not one bit more. That global admin master key we talked about, it should stay locked in a digital safe, only for real emergencies. Okay, so that sounds great in theory, but how do you actually do that, especially if you're in a big company? Well, the answer is something called administrative units. Think of these as a way to create secure zones or different departments within your digital headquarters. So what is an administrative unit or an AU? Well, think of it like a secure box. You can put a bunch of users, groups, and devices into that box. Then you can assign an admin to manage only what's inside that specific box. This is how you give people the keys they need, but only for one department, not the whole building. Let me give you a perfect real-world example. Say you have a help desk team just for your offices in Europe. What you can do is create a Europe administrative unit and put all your European users into it. Then you give the European help desk team the user administrator role, but you scope it so it only works on that Europe AU. What's the result? They can reset passwords for an employee in London, but they have absolutely no power over an employee in New York. That is some powerful, specific control.
Now, one thing to keep in mind is that you probably won't get this perfect on day one, and that's okay. It's usually a process. You'll start by creating some broad units, maybe based on countries or business departments. But over time, as things change, you'll fine-tune it. You'll get rid of units you don't need anymore, until you finally land on a stable setup that perfectly matches how your company really works.
All right, enough theory. Let's see what this actually looks like. We're going to do a super quick walkthrough of how you assign and remove a role right inside the portal.
I'll just show you the key clicks so you can see for yourself how straightforward this whole process really is. Okay, so here we are on a user's profile page. See where it says Assigned Roles? We're going to click that, then Add Assignments. This pulls up a whole list of available roles. We just find the one we need. Let's say it's Application Administrator. We select it, click Add, and that's it. Done. The permissions are live right now.
But you know what's even more important? Taking that access away. When that person doesn't need those permissions anymore, the process is just as easy. We go right back to their assigned roles, find that specific one, and just click Remove. This is what we mean by least privilege in action, making sure access is taken away the second it's no longer needed.
So there you have it. We've put our brand on the front door, and we've talked about how to hand out the keys. As you start setting up your own tenant, just keep that building metaphor in your head. Your identity system is the new front door to your entire digital world. And the question you should always be asking yourself is, who are you handing the keys to?